Welcome back to the World of AQUA. I'm Samantha, and in this episode, we'll be diving deep into single strand extensions, Keratin Fusion and cylinders. I'm here with my beautiful model, Liz, and I'll be demonstrating our strand by strand systems, cylinder and Keratin Fusion. Our cylinder extensions are a unique DuraTip, 100% Italian-based keratin, meaning it's very strong, but very flexible, allowing for the tip to stay fully intact every time the bead is opened and then reclosed throughout the entire longevity of your extensions. The challenge with most brands of cylinders or I-tips on the market absolutely is the breaking down prematurely of the tip. So with opening and closing that bead over the course of 4 to 6 months, the tip will start to splinter away. And because ours is that unique DuraTip, it will last much longer. Next up are Keratin Fusion extensions. What makes our Keratin Fusion extensions so unique is the hard, strong Italian-based keratin at the tip. So comparing our cylinder and our Keratin Fusion extensions, both tips are made of 100% pure Italian keratin with no fillers. However, they are a slightly different keratin. Our cylinders are that durable but flexible Italian keratin, and our fusion extensions are that strong and hard Italian keratin. Both come with 25 pieces per pack and are the same exact density per strand. Keratin Fusion extensions are more permanent in the hair, and they do not need an external attachment like cylinders would with a cylinder or a bead. So they are more undetectable in the hair. However, if your guest is wanting something not quite as permanent or no quote-unquote chemicals in the hair, a cylinder is a much better option because it does have that bead attachment. It can easily be removed from the hair. First, we'll demonstrate our cylinder application. We have 2 attachment options, our copper cylinders and our silicone lined beads. You choose whichever attachment you prefer, but both come in 4 different colors: black, dark brown, brown, and blonde. For this application, I'll be using my deluxe pliers as well as my loop tool, and we're demonstrating using our silicone lined bead first. First, I'll take my scoop section and isolate the hair. Next, I'll push the silicone bead up and onto the hair. Grab one individual cylinder hair and press it up and through the bead, but ensuring your bead is nice and high in your section. Then I close my bead in the center of my cylinder tip. And there we go. Our first cylinder is complete. Next, we'll place a cylinder extension using our copper cylinder. So I take that same scoop section, push the copper cylinder up and onto the hair, grab one more individual strand of your cylinder hair, push it up and through the copper cylinder, and close the cylinder in the center of your hair. You can see side by side what both attachments look like. Now that our cylinder application is complete, let's move on to our Keratin Fusion application. I want you to see the side-by-side comparison of both systems. Be sure to set your Keratin Fusion gun to 200 degrees Celsius. We'll need our bond cutting pliers as well as our Keratin Fusion disc. First, we'll apply a full Keratin Fusion bond. Take a scoop section the same size that we just took with our cylinder system. Grab your fusion disc and isolate the hair. Next, we'll grab one full Keratin Fusion bond and lay it directly on the natural hair. Reheat the bond for 3 seconds and begin to roll. Once the bond is completely rolled, I'll just remove my Keratin Fusion disc. Now we can see the difference between our cylinder extensions using our silicone beads, our copper cylinders, and one full Keratin Fusion bond. A major benefit to our Keratin Fusion extensions is we do have a flat tip, allowing us to cut it in half or into thirds to create micro or baby micro bonds. Next, I'll apply a micro bond cut in half. So first, let's cut our bond directly down the center using our bond cutting pliers. Line the pliers up directly in the center and instantly cut the bond in half. Once I cut the bond in half, you see the density is half the weight of my full bond, allowing this bond to live closer to the hairline and more undetectable. I'll take a smaller scoop section from my smaller section of hair, isolating with my fusion disc, lay the fusion on the natural hair, heat for 3 seconds, and then roll. This is what a full keratin bond looks like versus a half bond. Now I'll take my full bond and cut it into thirds to create my baby micro bond. So map out your bond into 2/3, and I'll cut this bond into thirds. Just like my micro bond, I'm going to take a much smaller section even for my baby micro bond. I want to match the density of her natural hair to the density of hair that I'm applying. I'll place my baby microbond onto the hair and heat. And just like that, I have a full bond, a microbond in half, and a baby microbond third. A full keratin bond will last 4 to 6 months in the hair as long as the guest is maintaining her hair properly. A microbond will last half the time because there's half of the amount of keratin still attached to the bond. So instead of 4 to 6 months, it'll last 2 to 3 months. And the same thing goes with a baby microbond or a third bond. You get third of the wear, so that would be 1 to 2 months. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode where we dive into the V-Light system and tape-in extensions.